Okay. Here we go. I think we are ready. Are you on page 4, number 3?
Yeah.
Right at the top? Ready to go? All right, so here we go. Write the equation of the line through negative 212 and 6,4. Okay, so there are those 2 points again. We have 2 points on your quiz. We talked about 2 points at the end of class yesterday in terms of slope. Now we got these 2 points, and we're doing something different now. We're writing the equation of the line. Okay, does anybody remember how to do that? How do you start? What did you say?
So the equation of the line.
Line, yep, we're gonna write the equation of the line. What do we need to find first? So here are the 2 points. Would you agree there's a line through them? Yep, I'm gonna write that equation. What do I need first? Slope. That's exactly what I need. I need the slope. So yesterday we talked about how do we find slope? M. M equals what? Who remembers?
Y1 minus Y2.
So take your y's and subtract them. Take your y's and subtract them. Does it matter which order? No. But pay attention to the order, because if I did 12 minus 4 on top, then I'm going to have to do negative 2 minus 6 on the bottom. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Now do the math. Use your calculators if you need to. Negative 1. Step 1 done. Step 1 is find the slope. Okay, always. You gotta write the equation of a line, you gotta find the slope. Okay, what's step 2? Well, you gotta kind of pay attention. It says use point slope. So when we write the equations of lines, we can write it in several different formats. Point slope says, write this down, y minus your y coordinate, and I'm just gonna pick this point, it doesn't matter which one. Y minus 12 equals m slope times x minus negative 2. Now, oh my gosh, write that down, just write it down. This is called the point slope form of the line. It's our favorite form because it's so easy. Pick a point. I'll just use my first one. You could use that one, doesn't matter, same answer. And then you do y, is the letter y, minus your y point, equals m times x minus your x point. So whatever point you picked, you're going to do y minus the y one, equals m, which you already figured out, your slope, x minus the x. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, well wait, Mrs. Ford, you're telling me this is the answer, but if I did this point, I would have y minus 4 equals negative 1, x minus 6. Would you agree with that? And those don't look alike. You're telling me these are the same? Well, actually they are. Let's take this guy right here and let's distribute. So we have negative x minus 2. And then let's add the 12 to the other side. And we would have this, which isn't the point slope form. This is the point slope, okay? What's this column? We have y equals negative 1x plus 10. Remember what that's called? Slope intercept. That's your slope intercept. And the only reason I did that is I want to show you that it's same. If I do the same thing with this one, do you see what happens, guys? Do you see how they match? So you can have this one, or you can have this one. It doesn't matter. They're both the same line.
So you don't have to solve it like what you just did?
Nope. not if it says point slope. Okay, now you always can. We're more comfortable when we look at equations like this. We've done so much with y equals mx plus b. This makes us comfortable. If I'm gonna graph it, this is a nice form to have, but this is the point slope form, or this one. That's what point slope means. Okay, but now you see how they are the same, even though they look very different? All right, let's try the next one. We're gonna do exactly the same thing. 2 different points. So what do I do first? I find the slope. So let's look at our 2 points. 3, 3, and 5, negative 5. Here we go. Somebody help me.
3.
Negative 5.
3 minus 5.
So 8 over negative 2. Did you get negative 4 for your slope?
Yeah.
Right? Now pick a point. You can only use 1 point. So pick one. Which one do you want to use? First one. Okay, so then this is your x and this is your y. I erased my form here, but hopefully you wrote it down. What does point slope form say? Take y, just the letter y, minus that y equals negative 4 times x, just x, minus that x. If you use that point, which would be perfectly okay, y plus 5 equals negative 4x minus 5. Does that make sense to everybody? That would be another option. Okay, perfect. All right, now number 4, the directions are the same, write the equation line, but this time I need slope-intercept form. So we talked about that. Slope-intercept form is the one that says y equals mx plus b. All right, so here are my points. 0, 5, and 4, 1. Are you ready for the good news? We're gonna do everything exactly the same. We're gonna do everything exactly the same. So what's step 1? On the slope. So what is my slope? 5 minus 1 over 0 minus 4. I got negative 1 again, but I could have made a mistake. Is that okay? Now pick a point. You want to use that one? Doesn't matter. Pick one. That was kind of easy because it has 0. So y minus 5 equals negative 1 x minus 0.
Yep.
Now, if the direction said use point slope, I would stop right here. But it says slope intercept. So remember what I did a little bit ago when I distributed and got y by itself? That's what we have to do this time. Okay, so let's distribute over here. And add 5. And here it is. So the bottom line is, we didn't change anything, we just had to have an extra couple steps to get y by itself. What do you think about that? Is that okay? Alright, so why don't you try B, you and your partner, try problem 4B. You know what you need to do first. was the first thing you did? Please tell me if I'm slow first. I got 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's about the easiest number in the whole wide world, so that's great. So then I picked this point. Now remember, we talked about it doesn't matter which point, right? So I don't want to mess with negatives, so I went ahead and just picked this point. You should get the same answer if you pick this one. Okay, doesn't matter. So I said y minus my y equals m times x minus my x. So then I distributed and got y by itself, and this is what I ended up with. Now, if you left a 1 out here in front, that's okay. We don't normally do that because 1 times something is just that thing. That's called the multiplicative identity. But if you put it in, it would not be wrong. Any question about that? Got it? All right, let's look at the next problem then. Write the equation of the line through -2, 3 and parallel to y equals 3x minus 5. Tell me anything you know about this problem. What pops into your head? What are you thinking about? What? Okay, rise over run. We call that slope, right? Do I know anything about any slope in this problem right here? Mr. Ayers?
It has to be 3.
Slope is 3. Isn't this equation y equals mx plus v? So the slope of this equation is 3. All right? Now, I'm going to write the equation of a new line that is parallel to that one. Now, wait a second. If they're parallel, won't their slopes be the same?
Yeah.
So I don't need to calculate the slope here. Like over here, you had to do the work. I don't need to calculate it here. I know my slope is going to be 3. And remember in the original over here, I had 2 points, but I just had to pick one of them, right? Well, look what I got right here. I have 1. So I'm ready to go. Y minus 3, that's this 3 right here. Y minus 3 equals m, which is 3, x plus 2. Why is that a plus 2?
Negative.
Minus a negative. So, again, I didn't emphasize this, but ultimately, to do these problems, every problem we've done today, we needed to know the slope and we needed a point. So, sometimes we have to calculate the slope and then pick a point. This time, they gave us the slope, they gave us a point, and there we go. Now, I don't see any directions on here, so if the direction said point slope, we're done. What if the direction said answer in slope intercept? What would we have to do if we're going to answer in slope intercept?
Solve.
Solve for y. So we do y minus 3 equals 3x plus 6. We'll just do the distributive. And then add the 3 over. So if the direction said, and I'll put directions on the quiz or test. If the direction said answer in point slope, you could stop right here. If the direction said answer in slope intercept, you'd have to do these extra couple steps. We good? Write the equation of the line through -2, 3, perpendicular to this line. All right, let's hear your thoughts on that. Anything that's popping into your head.
be the, like a negative and then the reciprocal is a positive number of the slope?
Okay, so he says, I remember from somewhere back in my experience that perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So like for this one, the parallel slope was 3, but the perpendicular slope would have been negative 1/3. Do you remember that? Flip it over and make it negative or change the sign of it. Okay. Do I know the slope of this line?
4.
Oh no, be careful. If you want to get the slope, what does the equation have to look like? Y equals. So step 1 is going to be, let's get this y equals. Now, I know you've done this before, but I need you to be really careful because there are a lot of SIGNs, negatives in there. So negative 4y equals negative 2x plus 1. Dividing by negative 4. Y equals what? What is this right here? Yeah, it's actually gonna be positive 1/2. Now, I don't really care about this because the only reason I'm doing this is to get the slope, right? And this is my slope. Now, if that's the slope of the original line, what will be the slope of my perpendicular line?
Negative 2.
-2. So we flip that over and make it negative. If we were doing a parallel problem, we would use 1/2. All right, here we go. Y minus 3, I'm using this point right here. Y minus 3 equals negative 2, that's my slope, x plus 2.
When you find the slope for like perpendicular, it's like the opposite sign and opposite.
Yep. Yep. You switch the sign and flip it over. All right, what form is this? Point slope. If the direction said point slope, I'd stop. If they say slope intercept, then I'm gonna have to go on. So one more time, what do we do? Distribute. Carefully. And add 3. So that's my slope intercept. This is my point slope. Do you feel all right about that? Okay. Good news, we're done with P4. So you can start working on that homework. More good news, we're ready for P5. So here we go. Solve graphically with calculator. Get those graphers out. Here we go. We're gonna solve graphically with our calculator. So we need our graphing calculator. Starting next week, you will have to have your graphing calculator, okay? So if you don't have one yet, you got the weekend to get it. Or remember, you can check them out from me after school for the year. But you gotta have one.
When we don't have any class, homework is due by the end of first period or by the end of the day.
End of the day. Homework's due at 3:20. That is, we are a TI school, Texas Instruments, that's a Casio, right? Yeah. So it will graph, but, well, I mean, I hate to say that? That will do everything we need it to do. The problem is, you'll have to study your handbook to know, because your buttons are gonna be different than ours. So I'm gonna say, okay, press this button, this button, this button, and they're all gonna be pressing those buttons, and you're gonna have to press different buttons. And I have people to help you, because I've never had a Casio, so, and I don't think anybody else can help you either, because everybody, Texas Instruments. Well, that's an Inspire, so you could, the calculator for this class is an 83 or 84, that will work, but some of these are probably different, so you have to figure that out. Okay? And be careful with that one, because something, ACT, SAT, somebody just outlawed the Inspire, so be careful, like if you're planning to take that to a test, make sure it's okay.
For that, how I get off the screen? Isn't like a setting or something?
I don't know about this calculator. The only thing I can tell you,
I'm pretty sure the Texas Instrument ones will say Texas Instrument on it. Don't know though. You just buy that?
so, anyhow. Okay, all right, so here we go. If you do not have your calculator today, you are responsible for this lesson, all right? So I would suggest you go sit by someone that has one, so that you can see what buttons are being pressed and how it works. Got it? Don't come to me and say, Mrs. Ford, I finally got my calculator and now I need you to show me how to use it. No, I'm showing you how to use it right now. So if you don't have yours, okay, but get with somebody that has one. All right, so find a friend. And we'll do a couple so that each of you will have a chance to practice pressing the buttons. All right, so here's the equation we're gonna solve graphically with our calculator. If you are confident in your ability, I don't care if you're hanging on my every word, but by golly, I'm not gonna repeat myself. So pay attention if you need to. All right, so we're gonna solve this graphically. Quite honestly, there is no need to solve this one graphically, because we could very easily do this. Remember that? We could do that. But that isn't today's lesson. Today's lesson is we're learning how to use our calculator. So, first thing I need everybody to do, my calculator out. Obviously we're turned on, right? I need everybody to go to this button right here, says Zoom, and option 6. So Zoom 6. Now, as soon as you press Zoom 6, you should have gotten an axis system, did you? Did anything graph on that axis system? Okay, so here's what I need you to do then. I need you to go to y equals. Now, if nothing graphed for you, then you probably don't have anything in y equals. But if something graphed, you have something there, so you're just gonna highlight it and hit clear. So go to it, so Y1, go to Y1 and hit clear, and it should go away. And if you got a Y2, go down to Y2, hit clear. Just arrow down, hit clear, arrow down, hit clear, until there's no more equations in there. And now when you press graph, you should just get your axes back again, okay? So everybody press graph, this is the graph button right here, and you should just see your axes. Are we there? Okay. Now, I did that so that everybody saw the same picture. I want everybody to see the same thing. So right now, we all see a bunch. All right, so now go back to y equals, and remember a minute ago, you cleared things out. Now you're gonna put in our equation, because that's the one we wanna graph. So you're gonna put in 2. Now where's the x? Right here, next to my alpha button, there is a button that has an X and a T and a theta and a bunch of stuff on it. That's your variable button. So if you press that, that's the button that we use, right there where my finger is. Everybody see it? Press that button. Now your equation should say 2x. You have a squared button right here. Press it. Now your thing should say 2x squared. And then plus, just your regular plus sign. 5. Now you need another x. Where are we getting the x? Right here. And then minus 3. All right, did everybody have the equation typed in? 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. Got it? Now hit graph. Graph button right here. And do you see a nice little parabola? Okay. Now remember, our directions weren't just to graph it, look at it, we're to graph it and find the answers to the equation. So it looks kind of like this. The answers to the equation are these points right here. These are called the x-intercepts, or, more commonly, the zeros. Because those are the points, I don't know what those points are, but would you agree there's something comma 0? That's why they're called zeros. Where we cross the x-axis, those are your answers. All right? Now, to find them, it's really easy, but you gotta go through a process. Okay, so we're ready. Everybody's got this picture. Everybody knows we're gonna find this one right here. We're gonna find, you can only do one at a time. So we're just gonna go in order, we'll find this one first. Okay? So here's how we do it. Picture's there, everything's great. Press second. And then up here in the very top row, the button that says trace. So press second, trace. That is actually your calc menu. Second, calc. See written above trace, it says calc? Yeah, so when you press second, you get that. Now, look at option 2. What does option 2 say?
0.
What am I looking for?
Zero.
The zeros, there you go. So go down to option 2 and press enter. Now look very carefully at your picture. You should see a cursor flashing. You see it? Now here's your job. Using your left and right arrow buttons, these are your arrow buttons, you're gonna move that cursor wherever it is, you're gonna move it till it's over here somewhere to the left of the point you're looking for. See, the calculator says, what is your left bound? Move the cursor over there. There is no specific place, just get it over there to the left. So I'm gonna move mine right over here. So I use my left and right arrow buttons, I move my cursor till it's like right here. Okay, and then I press enter. Now what happened on your calculator? If you have a newer calculator, it drew a line right down through there. I have an old calculator, so mine put a little like arrow marky thing up there. You just set your left bound. You told the calculator, the point I'm looking for is to the right of that point. All right? Now what does the calculator want to know?
Right.
All right? Guess what you're gonna do with that cursor? You're gonna move it so it's over here somewhere. Don't move it too far, because it will get confused, because there's 2 points we're looking for. So you just need to move it over here somewhere, to the right of that point. Alright, so left and right arrows, here we go. Press enter. And now you either have another line or I have an arrow thing. So one line should be on the left of your point and one should be on the right of the point. Okay? Now it says what? What does it want you to do now?
Yes.
Yes. So it's telling you, okay, I know my zero, my answer, is somewhere between these. So let's just move using our arrow buttons, let's just move it over till we get close to that. You may or may not be able to get right on it, and it doesn't matter. Just get over there close to it. And press enter. And down at the bottom of the screen, it tells you, what does x equal? -3. So one of the answers you're solving by graphing, one of your answers is -3. Now, you might be confused by the y. What does your y say? 0? Does everybody say 0? Mine does not. Does everybody say 0? Mine says 1e -12. That's scientific notation for 0. So if that ever happens to you, it's 0. It's 0. Okay? Well, guess what? We're only halfway through. So hit graph again. Hit graph again. And that just takes you back to your parabola, right? Now we're gonna find this one. Alright? So this is where, if you remember what we just did, go ahead and do it. If you don't, I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through it again, okay? So I have pressed graph, I have my parabola. So now I go to second calc. So second calc. And which option do I choose? 0, and press enter. Then my cursor comes up. And where do I want to put it? The screen tells you. You want to put it somewhere to the left of this point. So in other words, here somewhere. This left bound could be like where your right bound was for the other one. Set it over here somewhere. So I'm using my arrow buttons. Press enter. Now what does it want? Your right bound? So you're gonna move it over here somewhere? No, you're moving it over here somewhere. To the right of this point, so it has to be up here. So I'm moving it over there. Press enter. And then what?
Yes.
Take a guess, so you just move the cursor till it's close. And what's that one? 0.5. And you just solve by graphing, which we are going to be doing a ton of. Okay. All right. We got one more. Let's see if we can, or we got a whole bunch more, but let's see if we can get one more done. Let's try this one. X squared minus 8x equals -15. This one's a little bit different. What might we want to do before we start? We might want to move the 15 over.
Yeah.
So x squared minus 8x plus 15. Okay, so we're gonna go back to y equals, guys. Go back to y equals. And we're gonna clear out, just hit clear out the old equation. And now we're gonna type in our new equation. If you don't type in the new equation, you'll be solving the wrong problem. So we need to type in our new equation. So where do we get our x? Right here. Where my big fat finger is, right there. That's x squared, that's x. It's squared. Minus 8x. Every time you need an x, you're gonna get it right there with that button. Plus 15. Hit graph. you get another parabola? Of course you did. Something like that? Right?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, we gotta finish this drawing. Now, what points am I looking for?
Your
I'm
zeros.
looking for the zeros, and this time, these are the zeros, right? Now, on my calculator, these are really close together. So I'm gonna have to be very careful. When I set my left bound, it can be anywhere over here. That one's easy, anywhere over here is left bound. But when I set my right bound, I have to make sure that it's not too close to that one, all right? So I'm gonna do left bound, so second, calc, 0, enter. Now my left bound is over here somewhere, so I'm just gonna go ahead. Oh, I don't see my cursor. You don't either?
You gotta go all the way.
Keep moving the arrow buttons left and right, and eventually you'll see it. Now, you can tell where your cursor is because it'll tell you on the screen. All right? So right now my cursor is at negative something, X is negative something. So my cursor is way over here. So I need to do my right buttons, and it'll come on, you'll see it. I'll let you go on. So find your cursor, set it over here somewhere. Move your cursor so it's down at the bottom of the parabola down here. Press enter, and then move it up on your point. Anybody get it? What'd you get for that one?
3.
3. Very good. You guys that are getting the right answer, start coaching up your peers here. All right, and then one more. Second, calc, 0. Your left, if you're finding this one, your left bound has to be down here. And then your right bound can be wherever you want it to be over here. What'd you get for that one? 5.
Five.
All right, we're gonna stop there. If you know what you're doing, raise your hand. All right, look around. If you don't know what you're doing, find one of those people and they will help you. Okay? Give it out. All right, I don't see you tomorrow, so the next time I see you is Monday, right? And you will want to have a calculator then by that point.